The following is an Outdoor Channel original production. This week on Wardens.
You got your license on you, sir.
Michigan conservation officers are on patrol during one of their busiest times of the year, firearm deer season.
This is a tough time of year to have an untagged deer with you.
Right.
A District 1 officer encounters two men in their hunting truck after they've concluded their hunting for the day.
Because he had an open beer in the vehicle. He had two open beers in the vehicle.
A D9 officer looks into a trespassing complaint.
We're out here because of a complaint on the power lines over here.
And officers from around the state take to the hockey ice to assist fellow officers and the communities they serve.
We've been playing charity games all over the state for over 13 years.
Wild animals and wild places. They're more than a picture. They're inspiration, excitement, and adventure. Patrolling and protecting these natural resources is a first-class band of peace officers. These are the Wardens, dedicated to the preservation of our great outdoors. Of all the days on the hunting and fishing calendar throughout the year, the busiest one for Michigan's conservation officers is the opening day of the firearm deer season. It typically brings out the most hunters on one single day and, consequently, results in COs frequently interacting with, educating, and occasionally ticketing members of the deer hunting community. In District 9, Conservation Officer Justin Muehlhauser is on patrol on the morning of opening day in Genesee County.
We got a complaint that someone is out hunting on a power line property. So it's Consumers Energy property. They're trespassing. Not supposed to be there. Consumers is probably the largest single property owner in the county here. So we tend to check on their properties a little bit if we get complaints on that.
When he arrives at the property where trespassing is suspected, Officer Muehlhauser encounters an employee of the utility company that owns the land.
You guys been having issues back here with someone hunting?
I haven't heard anything.
Okay.
But I don't get around here very much.
Okay. We got a call a few days ago about someone been back here with a pop-up blind hunting.
I did see some tracks in the snow earlier.
Okay.
Some fresh tracks, but that's about all I've seen.
Okay. All right, we're just kind of checking it out real quick, see if anyone's back here. So,
Okay.
all right, thanks.
Careful.
Yep. And he's got orange on too, so we'll get up and we'll check him out real quick before he takes off. There are people that do have the license to these lands, but it specifically states in the license that they're not allowed to hunt or use ORVs on the property. Hey, is this all your bait? How we doing, guys?
Good, awesome.
You guys own the property here, or what's the deal?
Actually, my wife's brother leases the property
Okay,
off the farmer.
okay.
So yeah, we got permission for him to hunt here, and
Where you come in at?
that way, down by the, I think there's a church there.
Down this track
Yeah,
over here?
Down along the power lines, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, you got your tags on you?
Actually, they're in the blind down there.
Okay.
If you guys want to chill out a second, I'll go grab
Yeah, we
them
can
for you.
go down with you and check them out. We'll come
Yeah,
around.
Walk around though, because it is slippery.
Okay, I'll come around that way.
Also patrolling on opening day up in District 1 is Officer Jeremy Sergey, who comes across a hunter walking down a two-track.
How you doing, sir? Doing well. Out for a bit of a walk?
No, I'm actually going back to the cabin to get a wheeler. I got a buck down.
Oh, you got a buck?
Yeah.
Where at?
Yeah, back in here.
Oh, okay.
This hunter has just shot a deer and was on his way back to camp to get his ORV. He says that they're close to where it went down, so he leads CO Sergey to the buck on foot.
Oh, nice. There you go. I'll be darned. Yeah. Your tag there. Okay. Perfect. Excellent. You got your base license on you?
what?
Your base license? All that in the bag? Okay, we'll go and check that out. Yep. Okay, and then you got your driver's license on you?
Too much clothes on.
Oh, I hear you. I'm sweating. So I'm either sweating or I'm freezing.
Sitting in there.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep, enjoy.
After checking this hunter's deer, blind, and licenses, Officer Sergey continues on his way to see what the rest of his firearm opening day will bring. Michigan Conservation Officer Justin Muehlhauser has come across two hunters next to a huge pile of pumpkins, whose blind is immediately adjacent to the property of a natural gas and electric company where hunting isn't allowed.
I'll see my son's shotgun. I had to borrow it to come out.
Okay. All right. Good deal.
Yeah.
And then you got your tags in the blind over here?
Yeah, with my driver's license and everything.
Okay.
We just kind of went to go look.
Do you have tags too, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be in there.
All right.
I was the only one hunting, but he has a tag too. Yeah, I bought him some.
Okay. That's you. All set. We'll get out of your hair. Everything checks out right.
We weren't going back out anyway. We're kind of done for the
So
day.
you guys have permission from this property owner here then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually didn't talk to the owner. It's actually the guy that leases the property.
Okay, he farms it?
Farms it, yeah.
Okay.
So that would actually be my brother.
Just so you know, we're out here because of a complaint on the power lines over here. So that's what we're checking up on.
What was
but just to let you know, if you hunt, you can't track, you can't go onto the power line property at all. It's even if he has the license on the land where it runs through here. I mean, if it's out in this field, then yeah, absolutely. But you won't be able to track onto this property here or anything like that. Okay.
Now let's say that one did run over there. Who would I have to get permission from?
You'd have to contact consumers to get permission from them. Yeah.
Wow.
Get permission from them to recover it.
After chatting with the two men and not finding any reason to take enforcement action, Officer Muehlhauser returns to his patrol truck.
So this is kind of a gray area. It's a unique situation. With all of these pumpkins here, he's not actually hunting directly over all of these pumpkins. He's kind of hunting off to the side. I think his blind's maybe about 50 yards away. And he's not even aiming in this general direction. So if he would have been set up and he was hunting like directly over these pumpkins, then it would have been a different situation. He'd probably be looking at a citation for hunting over an excessive bait. In this case, everything checks out okay. They're all wearing orange. They all have got their tags. He's got permission to be on that property. And yeah, overall, it's good contact.
Approximately 400 miles by automobile from C.O. Muehlhauser up in District 1. Officer Jeremy Sergey is also checking on deer hunters during the opening day of the firearm season.
You got your license on you, sir. Conservation officer. You see anything good today?
Not a thing.
Okay. Okay, what's your date of birth, sir?
22952.
Do you got your base license with you as well?
No, I do not.
Okay. Is that your quad out there?
Yep.
Okay. You got bait set out at all? No. Okay. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.
Good one. I was thinking to myself, I don't see his footprints, but that's because we were over there. His are right here.
Later in the day, Officer Sergey comes across two men in a red pickup truck.
Got beer in it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you got open can of beer. You got any firearms on you, sir?
Back in the back.
Okay. In the trunk?
It's only showing
In the
for
jug right there?
Yeah.
Okay. You got any gear in the back? No. Okay. So it looks
and
like
also
we got
looks like jail only out of Genesee County in 2008 for several months.
Are there any open beers? Do you got any open beers?
Both of those cases are closed.
Okay. Well, let me come around.
It's very common for officers to run into people cruising around with a beer. We call it a road beer. That's a very normal thing, unfortunately. And what's not good about that is, the person who's doing it, they might think that that's what's the big deal. I'm drinking one beer, but you look at some of the traffic statistics, over the course of a year, and on average, with driving-related accidents, over 10,000 people die each year that are alcohol-related crashes. So it is very important. That's one person every 52 minutes, every hour of every day. And that adds up to a lot of people over the course of the year.
How many beers you guys had today?
Got half of one.
Yeah, okay. I don't really smell a whole lot. I don't really smell anything. It's just I saw the beers there. Yeah.
Just one beer can put you at a 0.02 blood alcohol concentration. And at a 0.02, that has a very predictable effect on the body. Your ability to track moving objects is decreased, and your ability to do two tasks at one time is diminished as well. So it does affect you even at a very small amount of alcohol. And even though you may be in a very remote area, just cruising around, there's nobody else that you know of that are around, eventually you do have to drive home. And typically when you drive home, you're getting on a highway and driving somewhere.
You got a driver's license on you, sir?
The Michigan Conservation Officers Association, or MCOA, is a fraternal organization for Michigan COs and their supporters. They strive to assist the association's officers and their families in times of need, as well as different organizations in the communities they serve. One way that they raise money is through their MCOA hockey team, which is made up of conservation officers and some of their family members.
This is one sport that the older you get, the better you don't play.
We've been playing charity games all over the state for over 13 years.
The rivalry is with our DNR fish cops, so it's always fun on the ice.
Our association team, Michigan Conservation Officers Hockey Team, was really formed to do benefits for our own family of conservation officers. If there was any need within to raise some funds, whether or not there was a death in the family or sickness. But we also reach out to the community. We've done things for a young man in the Big Rapids area that had cancer. We did a game. That was probably one of our most successful. We raised about $19,000 for that game.
On this particular night, after hearing the national anthem from retired CO Mike Wells, the team took on members of the Cadillac area law enforcement community, including state police, sheriff's deputies, and city police. The two teams are playing this game to raise money for the Cadillac area Silent Observer.
The Silent Observer program encourages the public to submit anonymous tips when they see suspicious activities. It doesn't circumvent crimes in progress when you have to call 911, but we all see things in our community that we just don't feel is upfront.
Although the team is not always successful in the outcome of their hockey contests, they enjoy themselves and raise money for important causes. Since 2007, their games have raised a little over $100,000, but a comparison to an infamous team from another sport may be appropriate.
I kind of liken us to the team that used to play the Harlem Globetrotters. You know, they'd lose every game throughout the whole year, but they had a lot of fun. We show up.
Michigan conservation officers are authorized to handle a wide assortment of situations that range from general crime to hunting and fishing violations, as well as accidents and crashes. In District 3, it's the first week of firearm deer season, and Officer Dwayne Boudreau has been called to a location where a dead deer is on the side of the road. Emmett County Sheriff's Deputy Cole Brady is already at the scene when Officer Boudreau arrives.
So I see it's got two broken legs in the back. Okay. It got hit by a car. So he says that there was another passerby that showed up, came, they drug it into the woods, shot it, and then drug it back.
Gotcha.
So it had a gunshot wound to the neck, and it was still alive and breathing and throwing blood everywhere in the back of this guy's truck. I'm like, you need to pull it out, and I'm gonna finish this thing off.
Right.
So that's where
so he didn't hit it. He has no vehicle.
He did not. The car that hit it took off.
He just came
There
along.
is car parts in the road, so
yeah, I saw the scene there.
I think it's legit. You know.
Yep.
Now that I look at it, I'll probably end up just issuing him a kill tag. He didn't call in. He didn't. I mean, he violated by not calling in.
Right.
And just taking the deer.
Yeah.
I kind of explained to him the law, and like, you can either call dispatch or we'll come and issue a kill tag, one of the two. But so he's pretty. I mean, he's like, I don't know who did it. I don't know who did this. So.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That's no question.
I'm putting it down. So.
Okay.
You're welcome to. I'm gonna issue a kill tag for it.
Okay.
We're gonna give you warnings today. All right. So.
Yeah, antler busted off too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been watching this guy all
it's
year.
an antler point violation too.
No, I got a doe tag left. I'll bust the other side off.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, all set.
So I'm gonna issue the kill tag to you.
All right.
Sounds good.
You're gonna take responsibility for the deer. Just make sure that you are the one that calls in. Right? Tell dispatch. Let us know. Because have an untagged deer in the back. You want to, make sure that that's.
Yeah,
you're doing it the right way.
Yeah,
right?
You don't need the green monster after you. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's all set. Yeah, you're good to go. Like you said, this is a tough time of year to have an untagged deer with you.
Right.
Obviously, she's got some hind legs that are broken up. It's pretty evident that she was hit.
Officer Boudreau and Deputy Brady determined that this deer was struck by a vehicle and not illegally killed by a hunter. They issue a salvage tag, and Deputy Brady helps the man load it into his truck. Since they're authorized to enforce general criminal law, in addition to game and fish laws, Michigan conservation officers are always on the lookout for those types of violations, even while they're initially focused on something else. In Michigan's District 1, it's opening day of the state's 16-day firearm deer season, and Officer Jeremy Sergey has pulled alongside two hunters who have two opened beer cans in their pickup truck.
What's different between driving a car, and in Michigan, you're considered impaired or intoxicated at a .08. When it comes to hunting and handling firearms, it's actually unlawful to possess a firearm when intoxicated. And the law doesn't say what level of intoxication you have to be at, so that could be just one beer puts you in violation of the law. So that actually is a little more stringent than operating a motor vehicle.
Officer Sergey documents some of the pertinent info at the scene and checks some information on his computer. Then he takes a look at the firearms that the men have with them.
Here's the pistol, and I got registered for that.
Okay.
Here's my rifle.
Is it just the one rifle, or you guys got two?
There's another rifle.
Okay, we'll take a look at the rifles. You got this in a locked container.
Yeah, I gotta get the keys.
In addition to just the concept of driving with an open beer in the car and the effects alcohol has on driving, when you mix in a layer of hunting and handling of firearms, you go to a whole nother level, because all the things necessary to operate a vehicle safely go into play when it comes to handling firearms and hunting. So reasoning, judgment, thinking, all these things are just as important as driving a car. So those will be impacted as well when you're drinking, using alcohol.
Nice looking gun.
Here you go.
Okay, do you got your driver's license or state ID or anything on you?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
God, are we gonna get locked up?
Not tonight.
Yeah.
Central 101, I'm clear from traffic.
There you go, right there.
Wonderful. I'll get that for you. Okay, just give me a few minutes, fellas.
As he's filling out some paperwork in the cab of his truck, one of the men approaches CO Sergey's vehicle.
What's that? What's the problem? Well, I got some paperwork to do. Yeah, you had an open beer in there, so I'm not taking your guns. I'm not taking you to jail, okay? But you're getting a ticket right now.
For what?
Because you had an open beer in the vehicle. Come on. You had two open beers in the vehicle.
In this case, for possessing an open container of alcohol while operating a motor vehicle, this man pled guilty and paid a court-ordered fine of $280.
This is literally a life and death kind of thing. And what you're playing with is not just your own life or your own health, but someone else as well. And That's, to me, that's very serious, deadly business. And if you're going to drive a vehicle, there's responsibilities that go with that. And the same thing with hunting or the use of firearms. Those all have a certain level of responsibility that goes with that.
All right, I got your beer cans right here. Would you mind dumping them out? Just these 2 cans. I'm not going to make you dump.
I just want to throw the cans in the back.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm not taking your cans. I'm not taking your guns. I'm not taking you to jail. Okay?
I appreciate that.
You guys have been nothing but nice to me, so you know I still have a job to do. Hope you understand that. But
well, I don't, but I do.
All right. I know it's not fun, but here you go.
Yep.
If you want to take these 2, just go ahead and dump them out.
Yep.
I can explain this to you. I'll get your driver's license. And I just wrote you for the 1 can. I didn't get you for 2 cans even. Just wrote you for the 1. Okay? All right, you guys got any questions for me?
No, no.
Okay, well, I appreciate your cooperation.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
The following is an Outdoor Channel original production.
This week on Wardens, 2 Michigan conservation officers on opposite sides of the state patrol waterfowl hunters in and around state-managed public hunting areas.
You don't think that that's a serious enough thing to almost shoot your partners, that you don't need to get a ticket out of that?
And also, a look into what it takes to place bans on woodcock.
If a good dog is a high school graduate, a good banding dog is a college graduate.
Wild animals and wild places, they're more than a picture. They're inspiration, excitement, and adventure. Patrolling and protecting these natural resources is a first-class band of peace officers. These are the Wardens, dedicated to the preservation of our great outdoors. Waterfowl hunting is a passionate pursuit for many of Michigan's outdoor enthusiasts. The opening day for most duck species varies in the state's 3 management units. However, the season for teal and Canada geese opens statewide on September 1st. It's a day that most waterfowl hunters look forward to months ahead of time. In the state's District 7, Officer B.J. Goulet is part of a group patrol on opening day that's monitoring waterfowl hunters in and around the Grand Haven State Game Area. This state-owned and managed hunting property is a popular place that can feature stiff competition for the prime hunting spots.
It's not uncommon. People are camping out, and I think some of the groups we checked earlier today said they got there at 2 this morning to claim their spot. That's not uncommon. When it comes to regular waterfowl season, it'll be even earlier. People will be getting there at 8, 10 o'clock the night before to camp out all night to save their spots. So it's a popular spot.
Officer Goulet checked the licenses and firearms of several hunting parties who were hunting from their boats.
Oh, there's your signature.
Yeah, it's on the bottom. It didn't write very well.
Sneak it in there. That's all right. Still works.
I only have my fishing license.
Yeah, nice little guy.
He's a good boy.
Taking my time, trying not to get wet.
Hey, whoa.
Thank you. Perfect, thank you.
Got one more goose.
I was gonna say, these guys on the lawn pulling them in for you, or what?
Well, I tried working on the geese for them.
Yeah.
They've shot a ton of geese today.
I bet you they've shot 15.
Good deal. Nice. Because they were all just roosting over here, weren't they?
Yeah.
After not encountering or observing any violations, CO Goulet saw a hunting party on shore near a home.
Try to spend some time out here, but like I said, especially with the teal, it's kind of like slower going because you're sitting and watching as you go. But, well,
If you guys want to go through all of our stuff, I mean, we're legal. So if you want mine, I got to walk up to the truck and get it, which I'm more than happy to do.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead.
Fish. I got those two, and I got the base online. Got it printed out.
Yeah, I won't let you buy them if you don't have your base anyway. That's the one nice thing about the new system. So if somebody doesn't have their base with them, it's.
Do you want to check plugs too?
Yeah, sure. You can just unload and then just show me that you can't get more than 2 into your magazine.
Yeah, I'll just load my chamber.
Good. Yeah, I got you too. Yep. There, that one's here. Perfect. Good. All right. He's checking out your body count here. 2, 3, 4.
Got a lot of bodies here. So there's 13 up here.
It's always interesting to see the hunters where people picture in their head waterfowl hunters are going to be out in the cattails in the swamp, and today we were going across 2 separate parties that are literally hunting in somebody's backyard on a waterfront property, and both did very well. Well, good deal, guys. It's a nice pile.
Michigan Conservation Officer B.J. Goulet is patrolling teal and goose hunters on the statewide opener for both species. He started his patrol before daylight by observing the hunting parties around him. After watching hunters for around 2 hours, C.O. Goulet made contact with them. As afternoon approaches, he keeps checking hunting licenses and the equipment that the waterfowlers are using.
Perfect. Good deal. You guys got a couple life jackets in here somewhere?
Yes, we do. I have 3 or 4 up there, and I got, I think, 1 back here.
Yep, you're good. That's fine. Well, good deal, guys.
Thanks, bud. What's your name?
BJ.
Thanks, DJ. Yep.
Later, Officer Goulet encounters a boat with 3 hunters.
Yep, I got it. I guessed right on which way to swipe, so.
Same with mine.
Oh, this is yours, Hunter.
Thought you took the pictures upside down just to try to mess with me.
My bad. I'm not used to those Androids.
No, you're fine. So just go ahead and slide rounds up in the tube there for me, and okay, you're good. Yep. It's always fun trying to figure out the song and dance and which button you got to click and
It's the
thing.
first time I've used it since last year, so
I just got mine, so. I upgraded
I
this
got
year.
2.
All right.
Let's see.
Sounds like those guys are right in the middle there.
There's been someone right there. They're really close.
You put 3.
I got 4.
Any more?
Where's your shell box at? There's one.
Right here.
All right. So you know, obviously you guys know.
Yeah.
Did you not clue him in on the?
He's only had 3 shells in the whole time. I told him, I was like, hey, you can hold more, but you're only allowed 3 in there. So no, we're well aware of that.
Okay. Is there a reason why you didn't put a plug in it?
I just didn't have time to go grab a plug, that's all. This is literally his first time ever out.
Everybody gets nervous when the game warden's around.
Approximately 5 weeks later, in the southeastern corner of the state, in District 9, Officer Ben Lasher is patrolling waterfowl hunters on the opening day for ducks in the state's South Zone. He has gotten into position before daylight to monitor hunters in the St. Clair Flats Management Unit.
The St. Clair Flats is the largest freshwater delta in the world, where the St. Clair River runs into the Lake St. Clair, and it divvies into 3 different channels, 4 different channels, and the multiple islands in the area. It's a very immense marsh, both on the United States and the Canadian side. Some of the best duck hunting we have in the state of Michigan is here on St. Clair Flats.
While still waiting for legal hunting hours, Officer Lasher hears gunshots. He quickly determines the hunting party from which the sound came.
Because I heard them racking the action on the gun, I'm pretty confident they were loading it. And that was a misfire, because I haven't seen a bird flying in the air yet. We were working early shooters this morning We got out there before it got daylight. The published hunting hours are in the hunting guide, and waterfowl hunters have to abide by those hours published in the guide, and it's based on sunrise and sunset. And we were setting up on that one crew, and I could hear somebody working the action of their gun, and then we had the gun go off, which I thought probably was an accidental discharge.
As daylight breaks and birds come into the area, CO Lasher continues to monitor hunters.
This group over here, who I think had that accidental misfire because they're loading their gun 15 minutes before daylight, is leaving they took their blind down, but they're leaving it out here. We watched those guys hunt, shoot some birds. They were in a couple of man-made blinds. I was interested to see what they were going to do with their man-made blinds, if they're going to remove them, if they had their names on them, all that kind of stuff, because we wouldn't want that stuff getting left in the field to get sucked up into our farming equipment that Wildlife Division runs to plant corn and soybeans and buckwheat in the area for habitat and for the resource for the ducks to come down.
When the hunting party that had the early gunshot begins to pack up their belongings, Officer Lasher packs up his equipment and heads off to meet them by the entrance to the area.
Morning, fellas. Good. A lot of shooting for all that little bit of meat you're taking home.
Yeah, not a lot for the shooting. We're hearing more for the shooting than the meat. Very small.
Teal and a wood duck.
I don't know if it's worth it to. I don't think it was worth it to stay all night.
Yeah? Do you guys want to load stuff in the truck, or do you want to start handing me stuff out here?
However you want, man. No problem for you.
Let's just check licenses right here. Everybody's guns unloaded?
Yeah, 100%.
Who had the misfire this morning?
I did.
You know what time it was when you had that misfire?
It was like probably 20 minutes. It was dark though.
Yes, it was.
There's absolutely no way you can shoot anything with that.
So why would you want to be loading your gun?
In fact,
at that time
was loaded.
Yes.
And I had no idea that it was.
Right.
And I was just making sure, and boom, you know.
Right. Well, luckily for us, no one's dead.
This will be no different than what we do in the fall, other than we aren't armed.
Many hunters are familiar with bands that are placed on Canada geese and other waterfowl. However, a lot of people may not know that upland birds are also banded to help biologists from state DNRs and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
The goal here is we're going to run the dogs. We'll try and find them, and if we can, we'll try and locate the chicks, and we'll put bands on them. Make sure that when we settle them down and leave them, that they're not going to scatter, so the hen will have to come back, and instead of rounding them way up, they'll be right there for her to take charge of and move on to the next location.
Woodcock are migratory birds. The areas where they live are primarily east of the Mississippi River in the United States, as well as parts of southern Canada. Their preferred habitat is a forest of young aspen trees.
Young forest, young aspen stands, alders, trees that are 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 years old, and they tend to nest in the habitats that's in that 20 to 30 year range.
Woodcock banders use hunting dogs to locate the birds that they band and usually only place bands on chicks. The dogs that they utilize need to be markedly better at holding their points than dogs that are used in hunting situations.
If a good dog is a high school graduate, a good banding dog is a college graduate. Their staunchness required is double or triple what it would be in a hunting situation. A hunting situation, the dog's on point, you go over there, you flush the bird goes. Banding situation, that dog might be on point for 5 or 10 minutes while you're looking for the hen. Once you find the hen, now you want to start finding the chicks. And then finally, when you're ready, all the while, the dog's on point.
It's 80-some degrees, and the dogs were pointing birds. Most dogs won't even smell them. And the more the grasses get up, the worse conditions are for them to smell the chicks, you know, because of chlorophyll in the grasses. So they can't smell them. And that's what makes it bad, especially in the heat. And if you're lucky to get one good banding dog, but you know, I've had a couple, and Jerry's got Bell, which is one of the better banding dogs in the state.
All woodcock banders, whether rookies or longtime veterans, must regularly study their craft and learn from a team of experts.
Every 2 years, in order to get a banding license or keep your banding license, we have to go to a training seminar. Michigan DNR puts that on. We go through film, we go through studies of how to get the GPS coordinates, because we have to pinpoint the exact section of a county that we have found that bird in. Everybody has to go through that training. I don't care if you've been a bander for 30 years, you don't go to the seminar, you don't band for the next 2 years.
We'll just need to move the dogs out of here in the opposite direction so we don't disturb the fawn. You know, while we were out, we got to see, you know, a lot of other, the spring come alive and see all the other wildlife and wildflowers. And we didn't find a morel mushroom today, but, you know, normally you would.
Michigan Conservation Officer B.J. Goulet has encountered 3 hunters in a boat. 2 of them are experienced, and the third is a first-time waterfowl hunter who borrowed a gun from his friend. His borrowed gun is not properly plugged and consequently can hold more than 3 shells, which is illegal.
How about life jackets? You guys got something in here?
Anyone else been having much luck out here?
There's kind of pockets here and there. People are doing okay.
Yeah.
Some guys down around the way were set up for geese on a lawn and just pounded on them.
Really? On like, was it their house that they were on?
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Sit down, Echo. Hey, Echo, sit down. Or their grandpa's house or something like that. But yeah, they had, what they had, like 16 geese or something like that?
16?
17, something like that.
I only got 2 on me. Thought I had one of the seats that float.
Is it underneath there? Yeah, check underneath the other one.
No, that's the battery box. And this is just
There's nothing.
get us started. That's it.
How long is your boat?
17.
Okay. So once you go over 16 foot, you're supposed to have 1 wearable for everybody plus a seat cushion.
Plus
okay.
a seat cushion?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just 1 per person.
Okay.
I don't even have that right now.
Yeah. So is your boat then?
Yes. Yes, sir.
All right. So I guess let's do this. Seeing that you you know, just we'll say it's your fault that you gave him an unplugged gun.
That's fair.
That's a misdemeanor. All fish and game violations are 90-day misdemeanors. Okay.
Okay.
So instead of sticking a brand new duck hunter with a misdemeanor, how about we stick you with a life jacket ticket?
I can live with that.
Yeah.
In this case, for not having enough life jackets on his vessel, this man paid a court-ordered fine of $140.
You said we need 1 life jacket per guy and a floater?
And a
okay.
throwable.
We need 6 total life.
No, 4 total.
Oh, okay.
3 wearable ones.
Where's your thing at?
Yeah, any boat that's over 16 foot, you got to have that. It'll be stamped with the Coast Guard Type 4 throwable, which typically is just a seat cushion for most people. Unless you want to do the full-blown life ring or something, you know.
Yeah.
Michigan Conservation Officer Ben Lasher is patrolling waterfowl hunters on the opening day for ducks in the South Zone, in the state's District 9. He started his day by settling into a spot to observe hunters before legal hunting hours. Then he heard a firearm discharge when it was still too early to hunt. Later, he contacted the hunting party that was responsible for the early gunshot.
Well, we got lucky this morning.
Pretty good rules. I've been hunting since I was 11.
Okay.
The action was good.
What are you going to do with your blind?
I can leave it there.
You can leave it there, but you have your name on it. If you're going to leave it there and not come back for it, that's a problem. Because if our farmers come out here to farm this and their 2x4s get stuck in their combine,
Oh no, I'm coming tonight.
you're going to come back tonight.
Yes.
Is your name on that stuff?
No, I'm gonna go put it
Well, let me see your driver's license real quick. You left your stuff laying out there. Are you going to come back for that tonight? Okay. I'm writing this stuff down. So if for some reason their stuff is not removed, I'll know who to contact. got their information for the guys who were in the blinds, made sure that they understood what the laws were for their blind, that they were going to remove those things at the end of the season, if not before. And if they left them overnight, they'd have to have their names on that stuff. You don't think that that's a serious enough thing to almost shoot your partners? That you don't need to get a ticket out of that? You can't have a loaded gun until illegal hunting hours. Your gun went off at 15 minutes before 7.
Yeah.
So that's 25 minutes before legal hunting hours. You can't have a loaded gun at that time of day.
I had no idea.
I understand that. I think you probably all pretty shocked when it went off.
Shocked? More than shocked.
Well, it's, like I said, we're lucky nobody had to get taken out of the marsh with a hole in them.
Yeah,
so, I'm not taking your gun. I'm gonna write you a citation for having a loaded gun before legal hunting hours.
Okay.
And I'll explain the court stuff to you when I get done writing that out, okay?
All right.
Any questions, guys? All right. Thanks for showing me your stuff, and
Thank you.
good luck this afternoon.
Thank you, buddy.
You
you wanna take a duck?
No, I'm good. Nope.
In this case, for having his gun loaded outside of legal hunting hours, this hunter pled guilty and paid a court-ordered fine of $130.
Ultimately, I ended up writing that one guy a ticket for having a loaded gun before legal hunting hours. And come to find out after running his name through our computer system, found out he's got 4 prior arrests. One for attempting to take game outside of legal hunting hours. So it sounds like this may be a, maybe not the first time he's done this. So if we had followed the law, he wouldn't have had a loaded gun until it was right before shooting hours. He would daylight or much better visibility, and he might have seen what he was doing better and not had an accidental discharge. Get your name on it tonight. I'd appreciate that. And actually just using the blind without your name on it now is a ticketable offense, but I'm not gonna write you a ticket today for that because you haven't left it overnight. But if you leave it overnight,
That's why I asked.
you gotta have your name and address on it or your driver's license number on it, okay? All right, have a good day.
The following is an Outdoor Channel original production.
This week on Wardens, conservation officers in Michigan's District 6 work together to protect the state's resources during a chilly winter weekend, as well as the busy deer season.
So what would you do if you'd shot a buck?
And to look into an opportunity to enjoy one of the state's snowshoeing and skiing trails with some assistance from an old-style light source.
We're pretty close to the shore of Lake Superior. Every night it seems different. It's always an interesting evening.
Wild animals and wild places. They're more than a picture. They're inspiration, excitement, and adventure. Patrolling and protecting these natural resources is a first-class band of peace officers. These are the Wardens, dedicated to the preservation of our great outdoors. The state of Michigan offers some of the best prospects for white-tailed deer hunting in the country. All hunters have the opportunity to buy 2 buck tags, and most areas provide chances for multiple doe tags as well. While the firearm deer season typically brings the most hunters into the woods, the 6 weeks of archery deer season that precede the firearm opener is also a popular time for sportsmen and women to target deer with a stick and string.
We got a bait flight going. It's going to go for grass shit in Isabella County. Everybody's got the ops plan for that was sent out.
With baiting being illegal in many areas of the state, the Law Enforcement Division of the DNR sometimes teams up with the state's pilots to look for bait from the sky. In District 6, Officer Quincy Goenlock is addressing other officers involved in a group patrol who will be responding to what Kevin Jacobs and his observers see from the air.
The Michigan Department of Natural Resources Law Division, District 6, will conduct a group patrol of Gratiot, Isabella counties with the aid of aircraft to identify illegal baiting and hunting activities. Our priorities are protection of life and property, enforce illegal baiting violations, and then enforce any hunting violations. So obviously you run the other stuff, you guys use your own discretions with that, but baiting is zero tolerance in these counties, and that's why the lieutenant wanted the flights going up for that.
We've got patrols going out in different parts of the counties, and
once plane gets up and they get in their area, they're going to be directing us to areas where there are legal baits and those hunters that might be in stands. We have a couple complaints that we know are active bait sites, and now that baiting is illegal in those areas, we're still finding a lot of people are putting bait out, so we're kind of working through that. How we doing?
Hey, good. How you doing?
Good, man.
What's up?
Hey, I just thought I'd stop in and check in with you guys, see how you did. I know I talked to you the other day, but you guys been doing any good?
I was thinking that.
Oh, sorry, I woke you up.
Oh, that's all right. I'm good. No, Greg got one the first week.
Oh, okay.
And then these guys
That
got
might have been that one I checked the other day. I was here when it was hanging still.
Yeah.
Where we're at right now with our patrol is the plane is headed back to the airstrip, and they're calling the patrol. We've found a couple of spots where there were some bait locations out, and there's been COs out there to check those complaints and the visuals that they got from the air. So we're gonna go see what else we can come up with. I've got a couple of complaints I want to check out before we call it a day. So
It's still daylight when Officer Dan Robinson has a different task he'd like to attend to when he learns that he won't be needed anymore to respond to what is spotted from the sky.
this is the area I've been watching for illegal baiting, and I think we're going to go on a foot patrol here and see if we can catch up with him. The complainant stated that the person with the bait is a downstater, and it sounds like this guy is from the Caro area over in the Thumb. So I'm thinking it might be our guy. We're going to go see if we can find out. I think he's in that stand. I think I can see him there. So I think what we'll do is head up to where I think they're walking in, and we'll go see if we can make contact. That's fine. I just thought if somebody was still working their way back, if they're in the area, Meridian and Vernon, I'm walking out on this guy with a bait pile. I just thought somebody could sit on his truck in case he heads out the back way.
Upon getting to the hunting property, CO Robinson takes off on foot to get to the tree stand that he's already seen previously.
How we doing? Good. Conservation officer, why don't you come on down?
You want me to leave my stuff up here, or?
No, you can bring it with you.
Okay. You have a problem?
Yeah, man, you got a big pile of bait out.
Michigan Conservation Officer John Byers is part of a group patrol where officers on the ground are responding to issues of illegal baiting that are identified from the air by DNR personnel in a plane. While waiting to get word on anything that's spotted from the sky, CO Byers checks hunters that he encounters while patrolling roads he's very familiar with in Gratiot County.
How's it going?
Hey, what's up?
You guys going out?
Yeah.
You guys were small game hunting a couple months ago. About a month ago. Not here? Oh, I thought I ran into you guys down the road there.
Not here.
You guys got your hunting license and your
Yes, I do.
license? Where are you guys from?
I'm from Dansville, Mason.
Okay.
Hi.
How's it going?
Yeah.
You got your driver's license?
Yes, I do.
Your ID card on you?
I got multiple counties in there.
Oh yeah, I see them. Do you know what tag you're supposed to put on if you get a doe?
I don't have a doe here.
You don't?
I only got 019, or I got a buck tag here only. I didn't buy a doe here.
Well, it's archery season though. What does the hunting guide say?
Hunting guide, if you get, you can do the regular.
Yeah, you can.
Regular for a doe.
Yeah.
But I'm not shooting does.
Oh, you're buck hunting?
Yeah,
okay.
buck hunting.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize during archery season, and this is the chronic wasting management zone that you can put them on.
Yeah.
You're from Holt?
Yeah.
Good to go. You guys bought a lot of license.
Yeah.
Deer season is not the only time that COs coordinate group patrols to keep people safe and ensure that the state's resources are protected. A few months earlier, some of these same officers helped out in another coordinated team effort during a busy winter weekend in February to monitor ice anglers and operators of snowmobiles and off-road vehicles. One officer who worked both patrols is CO Chad Forster.
We'll do about a 6-mile run out right now and start checking people.
Okay, if you want to go, I'll go get him.
Okay, we'll just meet you up here. We'll just get away from these guys and get over here and wait for you. This is Tony's area to check. So he's gonna go wait for Will, and we're gonna wait for him, and then we're gonna go deep. Okay. Look at that. That's a nice fish.
Yeah, I didn't catch that one. I'm not sure which one of these I caught either.
Nice.
Seen all day. These are the only ones I've seen all day.
Quince, let's do Jill. That group way out there. Yeah, that next one. I'm sure he'll see us and come. The first group right there.
This one off to this side here.
Pick one and we'll follow you.
6120 from 20.
Two other officers working this winter detail are Jason King and Bob Hopkirk. They've encountered a man who doesn't have the appropriate stickers on his off-road vehicle.
And they said that with the three-wheeler, it's not an ATV and it's not an ORV. It's both.
Talk to
right. It's like, well, I'm going out to Saginaw River. Well, yeah. Somebody out there will tell you exactly what the hell you need too.
I got your fishing license and ORV, or fishing license and IGN?
I sure do. Yeah, so I figured somebody out here told me what the heck I needed before it was all said and done.
Where's that second place you said you stopped at?
Just a local hardware store there.
And they said the same thing?
Yeah, actually the one in Millington there.
Okay.
He's like, I'm not sure exactly what the hell you need on that either, because he said you don't need a trail permit, but you need something on there. He wasn't sure what the hell to sell me either, so there was a big price difference in which one I needed.
They shouldn't have. If you told them you needed an ORV sticker, they should have told you. They should have sold you one.
Well, I'm buddies with those guys there in the hardware store, and he's like, the one's really expensive and the one's only like $13 or $14. He said, you should be able to get away with like the $14 one.
Well, you need the basic ORV sticker, which is $26.
That'd be
the extra $10 one you don't need because that's if you ride trails up north. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, I'm gonna run some lean traffic and.
Unfortunately, you don't get no fish to measure yet.
No fish to measure? Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, buddy.
In this case, for failing to license his ORV, this man was found responsible and paid a court-ordered fine of $120.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Appreciate your attitude. Just make sure you grab one before you come out again.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll make sure we get the right one.
All right. Thank you.
It's not a real difficult trail. We do have some pretty difficult trails here in the park. You know, a few of our trails are Black Diamond, where this one is much more moderate. But with that said, anytime that you may be skiing at night, that adds an extra level of challenge. There's a few hills that during the day don't seem quite so intimidating, but at night when you've just got the lanterns out there, they can be pretty exciting.
For almost 25 years, at Michigan's biggest state park, every Saturday night from around Christmas to the end of February, if the weather conditions are right, visitors have the opportunity to navigate a 1-mile trail that's illuminated by lanterns.
I really like the fact where this part of the trail goes pretty close to the edge of Lake Superior. Earlier in the season when the waves are crashing up on the ice and you'll see the big ice formations will start making, it's pretty neat. Sometimes they'll get just the right conditions, they'll make these, they look like ice volcanoes where there'll be kind of this central hollow cone. The waves will hit and the water will shoot right up the middle of the ice formation, then it'll splash out on the outside. And if it's really cold and big waves, then the ice will form as the water is landing, and that's really neat to watch that happen.
Bob Wild has been getting the trail ready for visitors at Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park for 14 years. And his predecessor started the program 10 years prior to Wild's arrival.
So right now there's about 65 lanterns out on this loop. They're kind of spread out. Some places they're a little closer together. You know, if they're more difficult stretches of trail, I'll have more lanterns, you know, where there's curves or downhills. But if it's a long, straight, flat, narrow stretch, I'll spread the lanterns out a little bit further there so people can get a little bit more of the kind of the night experience.
Winter weather in this part of Michigan can be brutal at times. But during the period that Bob Wild has helped out with a lantern-lit trail, he's always had visitors.
During decent conditions, we probably average between 60 and 80 people out here. This weekend last year, we had about 220 people come out on it. So it can be pretty busy out here. But yet there's nights when if the wind's really howling and it's not very nice, that not nearly that many people come out. But I've never been skunked. I've always had people come out on it.
Halfway through their trek on the Superior Loop, the people who are using the trail with the help of lanterns can take a break and get a snack at the warming shelter and enjoy a campfire.
I got 2 marshmallows.
If you guys want, there's hot refreshments inside there. There's a couple of kettles on the wood stove with water, and there's stuff for tea, hot cocoa, cider, coffee, so help yourselves.
Those who use the trail while it's lit by lanterns range widely in age, as well as how they choose to navigate the trail.
Most people either ski or snowshoe it. When I first started doing this trail about 14 years ago, it was primarily almost all skiers that were coming out and doing it. Now we're kind of seeing the trend where it's much more snowshoers who are coming out here. But we still get both coming out, and it's people of all ages. You know, we got families pulling kids in sleds all the way up to retirees coming out here. So it's a little bit of everybody who comes out and does it. Some of my favorite nights are the nights when it's really snowing hard and kind of just see this, this kind of glowing globe from the light of the lantern lighting up the snow as it's falling. Every night out here can be really interesting. Some nights when the waves are cracking the ice out along the shore, we're pretty close to the shore of Lake Superior, so every night it seems different, but it's always fun. It's always an interesting evening.
Michigan Conservation Officer Dan Robinson started his shift by attending a briefing for the officers assisting with a group patrol that was utilizing a plane to locate illegal bait from the air. After receiving word that the plane was done for the day and returning to the airport, Officer Robinson went to check out a spot where he'd found illegal bait about a week earlier. Upon his arrival, he found a hunter in the tree stand and asked him to come down to talk to him.
You got your licenses and stuff on you?
It's back at my hunting property, or camp.
Oh, you don't have your tags on you?
Don't believe so.
Okay. So what would you do if you'd shot a buck?
My dad would bring the tags over.
Okay. I gotcha. All right, man. Well, you got to have those on you, right?
Just thought when I got one I had to have it.
Yeah, no, you got to have them on you if one of us or another police department or law enforcement agency contacts you, you have to be able to provide those. So.
Okay.
All right, man. So really what brought me here and the reason I'm here today is because of the bait issue, right?
Okay.
I would imagine that you're well aware that bait's not allowed in our county.
I'm not.
With the, you've heard of the CWD regulations and all that kind of stuff?
I heard that. I didn't know it was this county, no.
Yeah, you got to kind of watch that. So talk to me about the bait. You guys put that out then?
I didn't put any of it out. We have a hunting camp that we have a bunch of leases on.
Okay.
And yeah.
So you guys lease this then from the property owner? Yep. So I think what we'll do is why don't we meet you back at the car? We'll walk out before it gets too dark, and we'll meet you out there. And then maybe your dad will be there by then. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys parked over here then?
Yeah, we're off the road out on this side.
Okay.
So this is a case that I've been working for the past week or so. I got a tip that they were bringing in large amounts of bait to this location. Got a good picture of it, knew that the bait was here, and been kind of waiting for somebody to sit the stand. As we pulled in, we ran a truck plate. Didn't turn out to be this guy, but he was sitting in the stand and we could see that from the road. So we decided to take our walk and make contact with him.
Michigan Conservation Officer Dan Robinson has encountered a hunter who was in a tree stand next to a bait pile and targeting white-tailed deer in an area where baiting is illegal. After chatting for a short time, they both leave on foot to get to their vehicles, which are parked in different locations. They agree to reconvene again within a half hour or so. When they meet up again, the hunter's dad has arrived at the hunting property.
I'm Officer Robinson with the DNR, one of the Isabella County guys. So I got, he's hunting over that bait pile back there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys know it's back there.
Yeah.
Who put it out there?
I did.
Okay. Do you guys know it's banned in Isabella County, or?
I thought this was one of the surrounding counties that's going to be banned next year.
No, this is in that area. It's in the same, it's all in that CWD zone. Technically, he should probably get the ticket for sitting on it.
Well,
So it's again, it kind of puts him in a bad spot. But here's what I'm thinking. I want to go back to your other camp and see how much you got there too. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm sure you got some there too, right?
Sure.
All right. Well, what I'm thinking is I want to get your information on that, where I'm going. I want to meet you back out there. Okay. I want to walk that. I want to see what's there.
You want to walk?
I want you to show me your bait piles out there.
Okay.
So, and here's kind of where I'm coming from, right? Is that if we don't address this now, you won't be able to hunt any of those spots come firearm season. So if we address it now, we can get this kind of nipped in the bud. We can figure out what we're going to do.
Sure.
But if I let it go, and some other CO gets a hold of that, he's going to go out there and write every one of you that are sitting on bait piles.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit of a favor for you, but I also want to make sure we get this addressed. Does that sound fair enough?
It does.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to check out the other lease that this family is leasing for their hunting property. We're going to go check on some of their bait piles that they have told us that they've got out that the gentleman here placed. What'd you guys have here? Just a couple of sugar beets?
Yeah.
Okay, looks like they pummeled them pretty hard then. Okay.
After visiting another spot with illegal bait, CO Robinson joins the man at a third spot.
Okay, so you just have that mineral block there then? Yeah. Okay. Well, the good news is that's pretty easy to clean up. So you guys didn't bring any beets into this location yet?
Earlier this year we did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
To these same spots? The one we just looked at in this one?
Absolutely.
Okay. And it's all gone by now, obviously, so, okay. All right, is there any more out here?
No.
Okay.
Boys be able to hunt next week.
If you guys can get that cleaned up, you know, shovel it in some buckets and take it on its way, I'm happy with that. If you can get it taken care of before season.
Well, I'm telling you right now, it'll be taken care of.
And that works for me. But that doesn't mean we're still not addressing the issue at hand, right? So here's kind of where I'm at, right? The easiest thing for me to do is to write a ticket because I witnessed him sitting on stand.
Sure.
It's easy. He's 17. If he was younger than that, it would be a little bit harder, but it could be done.
Sure.
I think after thinking about it, having some time in the truck, which probably saved his bacon, I think I'm going to submit a report for you instead.
I would prefer that.
I imagined you would.
Yes.
So that's what I'm going to do. I've got your information. I've got the locations here. I've got the property figured out. And you told me that you put it out.
Absolutely.
And set it up for the kids, and I believe that.
In this case, for illegally baiting, this man paid a court-ordered fine of $285.
Let you go. Thanks.
Should I say thank you?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes doing this job, it's hard to know when to place your bets, and sometimes you feel like you're, picking off some of the easy ones. But I feel like this case that we settled out today was one that, I had to do surveillance on. I had to know the property, and had to work off a complaint that had pretty good information, but I still didn't know who was hunting it, where they were coming from, where they lived. I didn't have any information on it. It's just one of those things where being boots on the ground is going to make a difference. You got to be out there walking.
The following is an Outdoor Channel original production.
This week on Wardens, Michigan conservation officers in District 2 patrol anglers during the walleye opener in mid-May.
So walleye have to be 15 inches, okay? It is short.
COs from the state's Great Lakes Enforcement Unit assist divers as they retrieve pieces of a Tuskegee Airmen's plane more than 80 years after it crashed.
It's emotional on several levels. A memorial of this man who was given his life.
And the unveiling of a Michigan monument for Tuskegee Airmen. Wild animals and wild places, they're more than a picture. They're inspiration, excitement, and adventure. Patrolling and protecting these natural resources is a first-class band of peace officers. These are the Wardens, dedicated to the preservation of our great outdoors. The state of Michigan offers year-round opportunities for outdoor enthusiasts. Fishing for a wide variety of species is one activity that consistently brings both residents and non-residents outside. Although it's open year-round in some parts of Michigan, the walleye season typically opens in mid-May in Upper Peninsula Great Lakes and inland waters. In the state's District 2, Conservation officers Rob Freeborn and Mike Evink are patrolling Indian Lake on the opening day of walleye season.
Keep on trolling if you want. We'll pull alongside you. Any fish?
Oh, I got one.
One. Any size to it?
16.
16. Hold it up real quick. Did you measure it? All right. All right, yep, you're good. Fishing license, life jacket.
Yep.
Hold that up. Got a bunch of them in there.
One here, and one here.
All righty. Sounds good, man. Good luck to you.
Yep.
How's it going today? Any fish? All right, a few fishing license then? You got them on you?
You guys just getting out then?
Yeah, just kind of starting here, so.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, we caught a couple of fish, so at least it's been fun. We got, like I said,
16 inch?
We got 16 incher in the
Nice. All right, fish in the cooler in their bucket. Oh yeah.
See?
Yep, perfect.
3 16s, and then I just got that 18.
Nice. All right.
Huh?
What color?
Orange with brass spinner and glow in the dark white.
You got life jackets on board?
9 of them.
9 of them on the front there? All right. Perfect. Fishing license, I know we always have one, but.
Yeah.
Awesome, you're all set.
Thank you.
Well, you have a good day. Good luck to you.
I am having a good day.
Yeah, you are. Pull that pike up real quick. All right. Right on.
All right.
All right. Yeah, almost too nice, probably.
Yeah, well, the wind starts to pick up a little now. That might help a little bit.
Well, a few life jackets,
Yeah.
fishing license. You're all set, thank you. The life jackets that are up front here?
Up in the front there, yeah.
Okay.
There's 3 or 4 of them in there.
How's it going today? Any fish?
One.
Walleye?
Yeah, just a second ago.
Any size?
Ooh, jeez.
You wanna measure it?
You know I didn't. Got it?
Yep.
While making contact with this fisherman, Officer Evink checks his license while Officer Freeborn measures his walleye.
So walleye have to be 15 inches, okay? It is short. It's a short fish.
Oh, come on.
It's about 14 and a quarter, 14 and a half.
Okay.
So do you have your ID on you?
Yep.
Do you have his license already?
I had his fishing license,
Okay.
but not his idea. Don't worry. Who wants it?
As far as the boat reg, you talked to?
Yep.
Okay.
Boat reg.
All right. All right, we're gonna break away from you for a second. We'll be back with you in a second.
Okay.
The state of Michigan borders 4 of the 5 Great Lakes, has several thousand miles of rivers and streams, and more than 11,000 inland lakes. With access to so much water, the state's 250 conservation officers spend a lot of their time carrying out marine patrols where they monitor anglers and recreational boaters. However, they also serve the state and its residents by assisting divisions within the DNR, like the Michigan History Center on Lake Huron, just off the coast of the state's District 6. 3 officers from the department's Great Lakes Enforcement Unit are helping archaeologists and divers as they document, investigate, and strive to understand a historical wreck.
In 2014, an aircraft wreck was found here in Lower Lake Huron. It's spread out over 400 or 500 feet of lake bottom over about 4 acres. and they were interested in maybe putting the wings and the tail and the engine together again to make it an attractive dive site for lower Lake Huron. It turned out to be identified as a Tuskegee Airman, Lieutenant Frank Moody.
Lieutenant Frank Moody was born in Oklahoma in 1921 and moved to Los Angeles with his family in 1923. He earned his wings at Tuskegee Army Airfield in February 1944 and became a part of an elite group of pilots belonging to the 332nd Fighter Group. He was later transferred to southeastern Michigan for advanced training. During live-fire gunnery exercises on April 11, 1944, Lieutenant Moody's plane crashed and he was killed instantly.
Something happened to the aircraft. He was flying very fast and very low to the water, and there was really no time to react. He lurched up a little bit, and then the aircraft nosedived into the water. He almost certainly was killed immediately. About 2.5 months later, a group of young children were walking along the shore, kind of playing along the shore of the St. Clair River, and they found his body. So Lieutenant Moody's remains were recovered and sent home to his family plot in Los Angeles.
Lieutenant Moody's youngest sister, Annie Mae, was born in December 1925. She married Clayton Bryant on July 3, 1950, and they had a son, Eric Rodney Bryant, 4 years later.
Those bass look pretty good size, actually.
Eric got a chance to join Wayne Lusardi and his team to take a look at his uncle's plane.
That's where the fuselage would have been sitting, and it just got torn right away from the wing.
Right. And if they're anything like a P-51, I've seen P-51s transported with the wing off, and that's
right. Yep.
For the conservation officers that are helping with this project, it is a part of their job, but also a unique opportunity to assist with and observe something quite different from what they typically do.
It's been good. We've had good weather, we've had bad weather, we've had problems with the boats, we've had no problems at all. So we've had an array of things that we've encountered. But ultimately, everyone's been safe. I think it's been a good experience so far overall. A lot of interesting history around it. We're learning a lot every day by being on the boat with people like Wayne and Brian. So it's been going really good so far.
The conservation officers that are running the boats are doing a little bit of everything. They're loading our tanks, they're helping us with our gear, they're logging us in and out, they're processing artifacts, they're obviously running the boat, deploying us into our workspace, which is lower at Lake Huron, recovering us safely, and getting us back home with artifacts in hand. It's been really just a fantastic project, and it could not have gone this smoothly without the assistance of the COs.
We're a specialized unit. There's only a handful of us around the state. We're specialists or corporals within law enforcement division, and most of us, we captain large Great Lakes vessels. A few of us are investigators for wholesale fishing, commercial fishing, things like that. We check commercial fishing nets, tribal commercial fishing nets, tribal subsistence fishing nets.
Basically, they said whatever you need. And so they provided 2 vessels that we have here today that we've had at our disposal now for almost 3 weeks, and the operators for those vessels. And they're not particularly dive vessels, but as it turns out, they're some of the best dive platforms that I've worked on. They're just really fantastic. The operators are very professional and very squared away. They conduct these operations like they've been doing it all their lives, and it's been really a wonderful experience.
It's an honor. I mean, when you think about the big picture, it was a 22-year-old man training for war, and he gave his life trying to make the country what it is today. So it's an honor, and it's very humbling to handle these artifacts because it's tragic. But it's an honor to him too, and his family, and what he stands for, and so the whole thing is just great.
A spectacular monument recognizing the Tuskegee Airmen of World War II.
Not far from where Lieutenant Frank Moody's plane rests at the bottom of Lake Huron, the city of Port Huron is dedicating a memorial to honor Lieutenant Moody and other Tuskegee Airmen who died while serving their country.
We are here to recognize, honor, celebrate American heroes who happen to be African American. The Tuskegee Airmen were the first African American squadron of Army Air Corps pilots who fought in World War II. Their service predates the Air Force as we know it today.
The Tuskegee Airmen overcame segregation and were a highly respected fighter group who served with pride during World War II. And they proved that not only were they very capable, but they excelled in their mission to protect our country. This memorial is a reminder of the need to recognize these American heroes who served our country with honor, despite the discrimination and obstacles that they faced.
It is not their race or color that make them heroes. What makes them heroes in spite of hatred and racial discrimination they faced before, during, and after the war. These men persevered and displayed unwavering dedication and commitment.
You know what? It looked like it ought to be in Washington, D.C. But it's in Port Huron, Michigan. And we love us some Tuskegee Airmen, because we wouldn't be who we are today. And particularly, and this is where I don't take issue, but I just take because it's a fact. In my household, my daddy, Mandel Asher and Johnny May Asher, we always grew up. They said, Anita, if the Tuskegee Airmen can do it and go through what they go through, then you can grow up and be the best you can be.
Among the attendees for this ceremony are 2 former Tuskegee Airmen.
20 years after World War II, there was a gentleman by the name of Charles Francis who wanted to write a book about the exploits of the Negro pilots and that flew during World War II. For want of a name, since they all trained near the town of Tuskegee, Alabama, he decided to name the book The Tuskegee Airmen. So actually that name is a newfounded name as far as the actual identity of those pilots were concerned.
Of the persons here today, I believe I'm the only one that actually flew up and down these waters with Frank Moody, with respect to him. He was my buddy. I knew him personally, and thank this in his honor. Thank you much.
Today, of those combat pilots that were better known as the Red Tails overseas, there are 8 of these pilots left, 2 that are sitting here today.
It's the opening day of walleye season in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, and conservation officers Rob Freeborn and Mikey Vink have encountered a man who kept a fish that is shorter than the legal limit of 15 inches.
So walleye have to be 15 inches, okay? It is short. It's a short fish.
I'm showing he got charged with fish with unattended line, fishing out of season, and that's going to be apparently you wrote him.
Clear. I thought I looked familiar. This guy with the tip-ups off of West Shore this winter. Jeez. We got a short walleye here. It was 14.5 inches. Got to be 15 in the state of Michigan. He'll get a citation today for the short fish. His boat is expired, but he went to the Secretary of State, and he has an appointment, or he actually has the paperwork showing it is registered, but the sticker's not to him yet.
In this case, for possessing a walleye shorter than the legal limit, this fisherman pled guilty and paid a court-ordered fine of $210.
You understand the fish had to be 15 inches, okay? I got a job to do. That's why we're out here for checking fish. Next time you got to have a tape measure or something. You have the ruler right there. Yeah. I guess you should have thrown it up on there real quick. And as far as your boat, it is registered, right? You have the paperwork's. Yep. You have the paperwork proving that it's registered. Fish was released, so just next time they got to be 15 inches, okay? Yep. Overall, compliance is pretty good. We had 1 short fish, which is kind of common. You know, it's kind of tempting to catch a lot of 13, 14-inch fish. Guys will keep that 14.5-inch fish.
Wayne Lusardi is the maritime archaeologist for the DNR for the state of Michigan. Dr. Brian Smith is president and CEO of the Tuskegee Airmen National Museum in Detroit. They are working together along with many others to find, document, and analyze the wreckage of a Bell P-39Q Airacobra that was piloted by Lieutenant Frank Moody and tragically crashed on April 11, 1944.
The Tuskegee Airmen were the brave men who had to fight 2 battles
one against racism and segregation, the other against the Germans.
For the divers that are involved with this project, one important aspect of the work they are doing is to inform future generations of the possibilities that exist to work in careers that require technical knowledge and skills.
I speak to students all over the world about scuba diving and what it means to that in particular community. But it also opens up doors for students and children to see that you don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher. There are other things you can think of doing. Volunteering, working as a maritime archaeologist, as a cameraman, underwater photographer. There's so many opportunities that are out there that we don't know about. So bringing that knowledge and sharing it with others and getting kids, the next generation, interested in scuba diving is what this is all about for me.
One of my scholarship goals, in fact, is to reach out to underserved communities, especially African American communities, and get them more involved in diving and more involved in research, underwater archaeology. So that's one of my big goals, and one of the things that I really want to try to, I guess, be an example of while I'm out here.
The National Museum of the Tuskegee Airmen not only displays the history of the Tuskegee Airmen, but we're trying our best to create new or modern-day Tuskegee Airmen. We're seeking out African Americans or people who are underrepresented in the fields of aviation and aerospace science. We offer flight training to become a pilot, training to become a drone pilot, that's Part 107, and we try to interest young people in aerospace.
The people working to recover the parts of Lieutenant Moody's plane want to help share the history of the Tuskegee Airmen.
With it being, Tuskegee Airmen, and also, me being an African-American male in this country, and especially as the first African-American recipient of this scholarship, it's very, very exciting and something that I really wanted to take part of.
It's important because it's our history, it's American history, and every story deserves to be told. No matter how big or how small it is part of our story, and it needs to be shared.
One unique item from the plane's wreckage that was brought up from the lake bottom was a .50 caliber gun that had been mounted on the wing of the plane.
It's emotional on several levels, watching items being found and being brought up in memoriam of this man who was given his life, as many soldiers did, for our country.
Bringing up these pieces makes you think what was going through Moody's mind those last few seconds when the malfunction happened. I think about that often as a pilot. So we are in memoriam, going to restore this to a condition where we can tell the story of not only Frank Moody, but all the Tuskegee Airmen, and actually all the airmen who passed during World War II in training here in the United States. It was a bunch, like 60,000 men died just in training, not to consider the ones who died in combat. And they were just as brave as the ones who fought the Germans. So this is significant today.
It's a pretty fantastic artifact. The Browning 50 cal machine gun is pretty iconic, and I believe they're still used today. The same model and everything. So I don't think this one's going to be shot anytime soon. a lot of incrustation and things like that.
Over the 3 weeks that Wayne Lusardi's team is diving on this wreck, he invited several volunteer divers to join him to observe what is below the surface and have a chance to be a part of this historic experience.
I'm a citizen scientist. My passion is actually coral restoration, but when this project became known to me and I was invited to participate, I said yes without even hesitation. It's historical. I have a little bit of a connection to Frank Moody. I lived in Oklahoma, so I knew about his story, and bringing it home has just been an amazing experience so far.
I had seen it in pictures and stuff, but it was surreal being down there and seeing it in real life. It was like way more incredible than I expected. And he traced out, you can still see the star that was painted on the wing, and my dad traced it out for me, and it was like,
It's very important on an archaeological site to document in situ, basically in place, where these artifacts come from. And so that way, later on, you're doing a little bit more analysis, and you can sort of figure out how the wreck played out, how the wrecking event played out. Because if you just pick it up and you just put it In storage, you don't really have the story then, it just becomes a thing. And a lot of people think things are cool, but I think the story is more important.